Good afternoon. This is Clark Neighbors with BIS Commodities with the market update for the week ending June 26th. A very exciting week in the markets after several months of a slow, quiet, choppy trade. Just kind of a quick recap where we are for the week and also for the month. July corn and December corn both for the week are up roughly 32 cents. And for the month of June, up 34 cents. July soybeans this week up 30 cents, for the month up 75 cents. November soybeans up 46 cents for the week, and for the month up 86 cents. At one time today was up nearly $1 from its lows earlier in the month. But the leader of the month, or the week I should say, July wheat up 75 cents. So the ingredients are as follows. Obviously the wet weather was the spark to create a little movement to the upside. Keep in mind the funds have been fairly short a lot of the grain markets. It's kind of an odd time of year typically for them to be short. Market's been quiet. Saw some short covering. Market hit some technical levels and kind of snowballed on itself, thus making a stronger trade. And kind of exploded here Fridays to some degree as everybody walked in this morning, looked at the radar screen and saw big rains in a good portion of the southern Midwest again today. So going forward, the weather's going to be key. Is wet weather bullish or bearish? Right now it's bullish. Is warm weather bullish or bearish? Right now that's probably a little bit bearish. So crop conditions will come out Monday. Obviously the trade will look or expect to see some decrease in crop conditions. So as you're typically talking about a supply market, is the crop getting larger or getting smaller? And the market will react accordingly. Now in all of that, looking at the cash markets this week, especially on corn, huge decrease in basis. Most locations this week are down 10 if not 15 cents on basis this week. Since the 1st of May here in Cedar Rapids, we looked and basis is down 26 cents. If you go back and look at July corn close today, it's the highest level has been since the early part of April. Cash market comparison, we're 12 cents lower. So even though there's carry on the board, and there has been, this cash market seems to be diminishing, and the strong basis that has become accustomed all through that slow period in the winter and springtime seems to be slowly, if not aggressively, falling apart. And with the amount of movement and what it sounds like talking to some of the ethanol plants in the Midwest, most are in pretty good shape with coverage here going forward. The other thing of interest is the logistics. Because of the heavy rains and high water, namely on the Illinois River, and now starting to have some impact in the St. Louis area with high water in the St. Lawrence Harbor. Anytime you have barge or logistical problems in the St. Louis market, it's similar to having weather issues at O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Chicago shuts down, the entire country is affected right now with St. Louis barge freight, and because of high water, it's going to have some total impact on barge loadings. Because of that, we've seen CME talk about force majeure on the river from a standpoint of deliveries. So movement down the river, at least for the time being, is very limited at best, and could be actually stopped here for a while going forward, depending on how weather plays out. Next Tuesday, the 30th, we get the quarterly stocks report and the final planted acre report. A lot of times you'll see some positioning or evening of positions going into these reports. Obviously that's maybe helped stem this short covering rally we've seen this week. Now some on the floor would say there's actually some new longs coming into the marketplace. But also at the end of the month is the end of the quarter, which from a financial standpoint can also have some impact. So Between now and Tuesday, there's going to be assumingly more position taking, obviously watching the weather, see what the report says on Tuesday. Obviously that report can have some big impacts on the market going forward. And then 2 days later, you have a long holiday shortened week, if you will, July 4th, a week from today. It's going to be interesting, it's going to create volatility, which is typical this time of year. So be on your toes. Nobody can outguess the weather. The one thing I guess we want to consider is, all right, short term the market's had a pretty dramatic run. Will that continue? It depends on the weather. The question that needs to be asked is, where is this market going to be on Labor Day? Where's this market going to be in late September, in October? And if you're of the feeling that this is a good place from a producer standpoint to make some sales in that kind of attitude, this may be a nice window of opportunity. Many times that July 4th weekend can be kind of a somewhat of a typical time to make some sales. So don't be afraid to look at that, and feel free to give us a call if you have any questions. So going forward this upcoming week, again, Tuesday's the USDA report with the quarterly stocks and planting progress. We'll have an update on crop conditions Monday afternoon, and it's also a shortened week because of the holidays. So stay tuned with the weather, watch those things next week, and if you have any questions, give us a call here at the office. Phone number is 800-373-2525 or biscommodities.com. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you next week.